Inferences become much more powerful when you learn how to lock them. Locking inferences allows you to reference other geometry without having to directly snap to it. Please go ahead and open the primitives sample file that I've provided. You'll learn how to create all of these primitives in due course, but for now I just want to focus on locking inferences. So we'll stack these primitives on top of each other. The first task is to stack the cone on top of the box. So select the cone and press M for move. Orbit over here so you can see the edge of the cone. We want to select the portion of the cone that's closest to the red axis so that we can stack it on the edge of this box. When I hover the cursor over this area right here, I see a purple dot appear, and the tooltip says Endpoint in Group. I can come over here, orbit, while I have it attached to the cursor, and click on the midpoint of the box. If all goes well, they'll be perfectly stacked, and you should orbit around and verify that. Next, we'll stack the cylinder on top of the cone, and this is a little bit more tricky, because the cylinder doesn't have an endpoint to grab. If I orbit underneath and select the cylinder, you'll see that there's nothing to snap to down here. I can grab the cylinder from one of its endpoints and place it directly on top of the cone by snapping to this point. If you don't know about locking inferences, then you'd have to do this with numbers. Fortunately, there's a much easier way. Click this point to start moving the cylinder and move the cursor over in the green direction. Hold down the Shift key and you'll lock that inference. Then you can click somewhere else to reference other geometry in the model. I'll click right here. It says it's constrained on line from this point. Now I've positioned it correctly. So hold down the Shift key when you're using the inference engine to lock the current inference. This frees you up to reference some other point in the model. Let's select this sphere and move it on top of the cylinder. It's the most challenging object because it doesn't have much to snap to. I'll start by pressing M for move, and I'll click this endpoint in the group, which is centered on this side of the bounding box. This time I'm not going to use the Shift key at all. I'll use the arrow keys on the keyboard. The way I remember this is right is red, up and down are the blue axis, of course, and that leaves the left arrow for green. So if I want to move this sphere in the red axis, I would press the right arrow. That will lock the right inference. I don't have to touch Shift at all. Notice that the cursor has changed and it shows a constrained on line symbol next to the move icon. I can then click right here on the box, and I can be assured that the bounding box here is lined up with the box. The next thing I'll do is click this point, and I'll lock it in the green direction by pressing the left arrow. And then I'll click right here. Then I'll click the bottom here and press the up arrow to lock the blue direction. Then I can click anywhere on the top edge of the cylinder to position the sphere perfectly.